Maple syruping is something that all of us here that work at Osprey Wilds really look forward to. It's one of those things that's a transition between winter and spring. The romanticism of the buckets and hearing that plink plink in the bottom is a really cool sound as you're walking through the forest and hearing that. We're a residential environmental learning center. Most of the people that come here to learn, whether they're 5th graders or 50 years old, are staying for multiple days. They're really getting immersed here. Our first executive director, Mike Link, in the 90s traded some beehives for a decades-old maple syrup evaporator, and that was put into the old machine shed here, and that's how our syruping operation got started. Ty Johnson, who's our land and buildings manager, but he started taking over those duties in the early 90s, and it's just kind of grown, and now we tap 600 to 700 trees, and school groups help us out, volunteers help us out.
And the best tree to get maple sap from is a sugar maple. The sugar content in the sap of a sugar maple is really high. You only need 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup. There are 3 good ways that you can identify your tree. The first one is opposite branching. The tree creates a branch there on either side of your main branch. It's going to sprout out on both sides. The second thing is that the buds look like little upside down ice cream cones. And finally, the bark is the other way to identify a sugar maple. You kind of want to look for this kind of flaky bark. It kind of almost looks like it's peeling to one side.
We can tell that the tree is about ready. We know what the weather's like right now. It's freezing at night and it is above freezing during the day, so that means that the syrup is going to, the sap will flow. Right here we got some nice like thinner bark, and it's far away. The nearest tap is like right here. So we know that this is a safe spot and a healthy spot for the tree to get tapped. The spot, we want the bucket to be low enough that it's comfortable to pick up and carry and all that stuff, but we also don't want it on the ground so that critters can get at it. So we're going to go in right about here, and we're going to go in at a slight angle just for the sake of flow, and we're going to go in maybe 2.5 inches. As we can see, this tree's like really warmed up and a lot of things are flowing right now, so it's already, sap's already coming out. Put the tap in just a little bit, make sure it's nice and straight. I already have sap coming out of the tap like crazy. Gonna take my little handy dandy hatchet here and I'm just gonna tap it in. But I don't want to go too far in because that'll cause a crack, and we don't want to do any undue stress to the tree.
There's lots of different ways that you can collect the sap once you've tapped your maple tree. Here are 2 different examples. We have a galvanized bucket that's still in really good condition. Again, we have the lid on it. The tap is running directly into it. It's hanging on it. And we also have a bag here. And this bag is really cool because it's actually recyclable. I'll spin it around. So we have, it kind of slips in and out of here on a channel. And then the spile, which looks a little different than our plastic spile here, just fits right inside. And we don't need a lid for this because it already comes with its own lid just to function. As we need to replace buckets, we do go with the bags. They're just a lot smaller to store. And we do put these little bits of duct tape on the corners just in case the squirrels get any wise ideas. The duct tape doesn't taste very good.
How much sap do you get out of a tree depends on how many taps you have in the tree. So the rule of thumb is every 10-inch diameter you can put a tap in. So some of our trees are big enough that we got 3 taps in. And On a good day, you'll have a drip that's about a drip a second, and you can fill up a 3-gallon bucket or bag in one day, and on one tap.
We have a tractor with a big reservoir on it. And when we want to collect the sap, we just take it off the tree. We might lose a few drops, but that's okay. Go over to the tractor, and just dump it into the big reservoir.
And we take it over to the shack and cook that down with wood. So we're pretty old-fashioned in doing it that way for as much as we actually collect. Most places or operators that are tapping hundreds of trees have switched over to propane or natural gas, but we like the ambiance with the crackling fire and the wood.
When that tank gets full, they bring it over here and we pump it up into this tank, which will hold 5 of those tanks that are on the tractor. So that way the volunteers can keep dumping sap and keep my sap flow here in the sugar shack so we can keep cooking. So this will hold 500 gallons. What I'm looking for is 7 degrees above the boiling point of water, which is 219. And I have a thermometer, maple syrup thermometer, so 0 is boiling, and then when it hits 7, that's my, should be syrup. Well, then when that gets to be syrup, I'll fill this with hot syrup, and with this hydrometer, this bottom red line should float right at the top of my syrup. And when that's at the top, then I say, okay, we got syrup. Then what I do is we have this stainless steel bucket. I just put that down there and I run syrup. Then I take my syrup over here and we filter it through this. And this is a paper filter. It's kind of like a coffee filter. That's the first one that gets rid of all the impurities. And then the next one is an Orlon filter. This gets rid of any fine particles that might still be left in there.
On a typical year, we'll make anywhere from 80 to 120 gallons of syrup, but it really depends on the weather. We use the maple syrup for a lot of things. So because we're residential, we have a dining hall and a kitchen staff. We make a really good maple balsamic salad dressing that goes out on our line every day. Maple syrup is called one of those superfoods. You're essentially getting the minerals and the vitamins that are coming out of the soil and the ground that's concentrated into the syrup. If you take the act of maple syruping and you expand on what does it connect to, it connects to forest ecology. You can't do maple syruping non-sustainably because the trees have to be there. So if you cut them down, you can't make syrup.